I remember not long ago, I think it was the wife's father who had passed away, and she had come into all this money. And she was racked with guilt over it because dad lived very lean. I mean, this is not uncommon for the dads of our clients.
Dad owned 2 pairs of pants.
Dad kept the heat low in the winter. He only ate like 3 things, right? You know, like ham sandwich, cold coffee. And so I remember having this conversation, but what if we were to start like making a difference for other people? Like, what's important to you? When I get together routinely with this couple and others, the most exciting part of their financial journey is how they've been able to make an impact in the lives of others. They'll never meet these people. They'll never have a conversation with these people, but they're like, how do I give away more money? How do I be more charitable?
And it's so cool for her, the money that like once was looked at as like a burden or like guilt associated with it was probably the best gift that she's ever received, because she was able to take that money and turn it around and give it to others less fortunate. And that feeling that you get when you give it away, like, oh man, like you can't buy that at the store.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. It's Saturday State of Mind with Mike and Jess Panico from Arcadia Financial.
What's up?
I don't know. You tell me. What are we talking about today?
Well, Mike, today I've been reflecting a lot on our time here on Earth.
Okay. You didn't have enough to do today?
No. In between my back-to-back appointments, I was like, who am I and what is the purpose? What's the secret of life?
Wow.
And then that like leads me to think about like other like secrets, and then like the secret garden, and then the train thought keeps going. But I was reflecting.
No, I'm really interested in the secret thing.
That's not to be uncovered today.
Okay.
That'll be uncovered in episode 100.
I thought maybe you had access to some old tablets or something.
Tablets?
Yeah. Well, where else do they keep secrets of the meaning of life but on tablets?
Oh, I thought you meant like an iPad, that type of tablet.
Oh, right. Yeah. We're just going to talk right past each other there.
Mike, this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about life's short, man. Right? Mm. And like our whole mantra, living every day.
Thanks
like
for the reminder.
Yeah. Shorter for some than others.
What's your call? Do you have more years ahead or more behind?
Oh, way more ahead.
Way more ahead?
Yeah.
Hopefully not too. I mean, there is such thing as too many years ahead.
I don't know.
There can be. Depends on how good the years are.
Yeah, there's some comedian.
It can get rough towards the end.
No, there's some comedian like in his 50s. He's like, you know what? I feel like I've done pretty much everything. I'm going to wrap this thing
Let's wrap this thing up. Yeah.
No, but I was thinking
how many days are there?
There's so many days. There are so many days, right?
There really aren't.
Okay, but...
There really aren't. Time goes by really fast.
What they say, like the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah.
That's a saying.
I don't know if I fully grasp what that means.
Oh, well, I can break that down for you. It's like sometimes a day feels just like, oh gosh, this day is like dragging on forever. Now, you and I are pretty busy people.
I don't know what a day
So it's just like, how is it already 5 o'clock or whatever that is? But it seems like too, when you try and get something accomplished, you should especially know this, Mr. Like, ants in his pants. Like, you can't get accomplished like that. You can't get accomplished in a day. But if you look back over like the year, it's like, I can't believe it's a new year already. Like, how did that year go by so fast? So it seems like maybe the days are long, but the years are short.
Time does go by really fast. I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot. Just looking at our boys, they're full-fledged teenagers giving us lip, arguing about when bedtime is and all this stuff now. And we were just doing like effectively some spring cleaning, right? And you're looking at all these old photos, and it seems like a minute ago they were just like, just little dudes.
Now they're
they're big,
smelly teenagers.
Big dudes.
Big stinky boys running around the house. But I was thinking about time and, in life and like what we do here. And it is short. You got a lot of days, but life's short.
That's why you got to live like every day Saturday.
You do. And what type of impact are you making? Because, Saturday, and we've talked about this a lot, like, oh, I want to get outdoors and I want to do all this cool stuff and maybe I want to sleep in. But I think a lot of people say, I know I do anyways, that I want to leave this world a little better than I found it.
Clean up after yourself.
Yeah, clean up after yourself. Sure. But and if everybody thought that way, that'd be something pretty nifty. Mm-hmm. But I don't think everybody does. So what more can you do? And I think that got me thinking a lot about community engagement and impact and like charitable organizations, and there's so many out there. But what can we do as two people that own a business? We have a whole slew of team members that work for us. We have even more like clients. Could we somehow, on the platform that we have, even this YouTube channel right here, spread this idea, of like giving back to those less fortunate? Like, what could we do in our business to dedicate time to giving back?
Sure.
Because it feels good, right?
Yeah. I feel like it started with making sure clients had an idea that they should think about like a scope more broad than just their immediate family when it came to planning for the future, or certainly planning for their legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not uncommon to have a conversation like, hey, where does this money go when you're gone? Most of the time people say, well, I have 2.5 kids. So when I'm gone, my stuff will be split 2.5 ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we then have a conversation about, when do the kids need that money? Do they need it now? Should we be giving gifts annually? Can they wait till you're like 107 years old? And that could be 4 decades from now. And this is a spectrum, the responses that we get, but it's not uncommon for people to say, my kids are in a better spot than I am. They're really good kids. They're smart kids. They're making more money than I was at that age. And this is not true universally.
Sure.
But it's interesting. I'll say to these same people, okay, so what difference in their lives is this money going to make?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they'll say sometimes, I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference at all, but I love them and I want them to get the money. And it's like, well, maybe you could be doing something else with the money. We know that while we're trying to live every day like it's Saturday, there's a lot of people out there that live every day like it's Tuesday. Right? There's people who have all sorts of headwinds in life, bad luck, poor health, all this stuff. Some people need a leg up. They need help living every day like it's Saturday. And certainly if there's a higher calling, as you're ascending into heaven, so to speak, might it be worth your while, just even for strictly selfish purposes, to be charitable, to earn brownie points with the man upstairs? I don't know.
Does that count if you do it for like that reason? Like if you go to
it's
church?
Not my call.
Yeah,
I think about these things.
Do you go to church and be like, I'm here, attendance, roll call, I did it. I hope this counts for something. Or do you got to mean it?
All the existential, jokey stuff aside, we know, and it's not only by observation, but by study, for crying out loud, it is better to give than to receive.
Oh, for sure.
It feels so good to help people.
I wonder if there was a study on that, what percentage of people, I mean, I guess no one ever tells you like, no way, man, I love getting, but I do hear all the time, like.
We should get that guy on the show.
Yeah.
It's better.
Give it all to me right now. But it's true. And I don't know, maybe because like we're parents too, like giving stuff like to our kids that like really like amazes them, or something that they've been wanting like all year or something like that. It's pretty cool to see.
I remember not long ago, and it's actually happened, well, with some regularity since. We work with a lot of people where it was a husband and wife. I think it was the wife's father who had passed away, and she had come into all this money. And she was racked with guilt over it because dad lived very lean. I mean, this is not uncommon for, the dads of our clients.
Dad owned 2 pairs of pants.
Dad kept the heat low in the winter. He only ate like 3 things, right? Like ham sandwiches, cold coffee. And he just lived super lean because he wanted to leave all this money to like me and my sister or whoever it was. And
even though they probably didn't need it, right? And
she's
they
like she felt guilt-riddled over it, where she was just like, I don't really feel like I deserve this money, and I already have a really good life, and I'm worried about like this money changing me. I don't know if I should just pass it on to the kids, but I also like, what's it going to do for them?
Don't want to inflict the problem.
What if it, harms them somehow? I mean, the number one disruptor of marriages in this country are money issues. If you spoil people, it could dissuade them from pursuing career goals. I mean, people, I think, sometimes wrongly assume that money just enriches your life. And it can, especially if money is an issue where you're struggling to pay bills, or certainly, right? But there becomes a level, especially where if you've grown comfortable, where money isn't that much of a concern anymore.
Sure.
And here's this woman, she's like, what what should it was almost like if she could, she would have just given the money back.
Right.
Right. And it wasn't about like, oh, like I just want my dad back, which certainly I think she did want, but she didn't want this. It was a burden in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember having this conversation. Well, what if we were to, you feel like you don't deserve it? What if we were to like hold on to a lot of it for all the what ifs? Because the husband was like, we can't just, give it back. That's crazy. But what if we were to start like making a difference for other people?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's important to you? And for a lot of people, not just this person, it could be church. It could be some sort of like community group, a food bank. It could be, I mean, listen, the sky's the limit. There's all these things out there. There's all this suffering in the world. And so she's like, how do I do this? Because there's tax considerations.
Sure.
You can't just start like writing checks or dropping cash off on like church doorsteps.
Yeah, well, that's it too. Like if you're taking the money out and you have to pay taxes, you're like, I was just trying to do a good thing.
Right. So what's interesting, just fast forwarding a little bit, is when I get together routinely with this couple and others, the most exciting part of their financial journey is how they've been able to make an impact in the lives of others. And oftentimes it's people, they'll never meet these people, they'll never have a conversation with these people, but they're like, how do I give away more money? How do I be more charitable? And it's always funny because like both me and the husband with the same person I'm thinking of, we always have to like rein her in a little bit. Like we can't give it all away. Like you still have some of your own needs as an uncertain future. But it's so delightful to see for some people that absent sometimes, like there could be this void of meaning. I have this money, I might not spend it all. My kids seem to be in good shape. And it's like, there's like a lack of imagination for what else you can do. And it's like, why wouldn't you give back or do more or try to like help the community at large?
And it's so cool for her, the money that like once was looked at as like a burden or like guilt associated with it was probably the best gift that she's ever received, because she was able to take that money and turn it around and give it to others less fortunate. And that feeling that you get when you give it away, like, oh man, like you can't buy that at the store.
To get philosophic about it for a second, I feel like it's really important to get that exposure too, even if it's for somewhat selfish reasons. There is, sunshine isn't special unless there's rain.
Sure.
Right? If it was sunny all the time, then you wouldn't really be excited when there was a sunny day. It would be so mundane that it would lose all meaning entirely.
There would be no joy in the absence of pain.
I know when people lose a loved one, you got to put a dog down. It feels like the world is ending. It is the worst, but it's because of that pain that joy is joy, right? There has to be a juxtaposition, right, for certain things to have meaning. And we've talked before, right? Had conversations about people struggle in this country being happy.
Sure.
And I think in part it's because this country does pretty well for itself, right? Most people have a home, they have, a car, they can drive wherever they like, they can get some food for themselves. You can get, even if you're in dire straits, you can get like healthcare, right? You can be bleeding out, someone's going to take care of you. So we have all of our basic needs met. Most people have access to what would have been 100 years ago, like unthinkable luxuries.
Like
it's
living like kings.
Right. It's all in our living room. And so all like living well starts to lose its meaning. And I think that's why, at least in part, I'm hyper simplifying, but in part people struggle being happy. But when you start to volunteer and you see actual struggle, actual suffering, people who are like right on the cusp or sometimes on the other edge, other side of the line, right? You start to say, man, I have it pretty good in comparison. And it helps you to not only help those people, right? But it helps to put your own situation in a much different perspective that you would never have unless you're able to see, right, that other side of the fence.
Yeah, I think, the people that kind of are living like pretty well. I'm not saying that they're, like multimillionaires, or anything crazy, but it's like, hey, I got all my needs met. We're not happy as a whole, as a country, right? I mean, they've done studies where I read this before, but they said like the happiest country, some of the most happiest villages are these people that have like nothing,
right? Like
no material.
The happiest countries are third world countries,
right?
It's strange,
and it is strange, but you have like you don't have to worry about like who's driving what car and like all these material possessions. I think that's what we do now, especially with like Amazon, is that we just try to find happiness by buying more and more and more and more, and it doesn't fill like the hole or
the third world. The most simple things, the most basic of needs being met is where you can get your like breaking your daily bread or waking up in the morning. Right? Like we take that
food, shelter, clothing, love, those are like the big things. And what's neat about, the client you spoke about is that, so she came into this like wonderful position where she could, have this like fun money to like give to charity, this extra money that she wasn't expecting, but not everyone's in that situation. So what can we do? And I think you and I had talked about it one time because for a long time, we would always do charity give back, once a quarter, we close the office for a day and go on the community with our team. And we said, everyone loved those days and would always look forward to it here at work. And you and I would as well. But we thought, what if we could extend this feeling to other clients, maybe clients that didn't have that windfall that could give back and just like, I know there's some like single folk out there that wouldn't necessarily like want to like join a big like walk or go down to the food pantry by themselves or anything. So we said, well, what if we invited them out? It helps like, foster more community, all our clients coming together and enhances the amount we're able to give back to amplify our reach.
Right. I think it's important to say, listen, we're nobody's judge. Charity isn't important to everybody. Some people want to bounce their last check, spending all their money on their own bucket list stuff. Hey, you earned it, you saved it, you do whatever you'd like. What we're trying to encourage, though, is that we've seen the difference that charity makes, not only for the people that are being affected by the charity, but the people participating in it too. And what we've encouraged is to go beyond just cutting checks, right? I think you're going to laugh as I introduce this. I mean, we've seen Tim Tebow speak several times.
Yeah.
And he loves to tell this story about supposedly some big athlete that he knew finds himself on a bus one day with Mother Teresa.
Plane, but
right. And he's like, hey, I want to cut you a check. I believe in your work and I think you're the best. And he cuts this really big check and she looks at it kind of like, whoa, I can't believe you're going to give me this amount. And he goes, it's no trouble. It's no big deal. Right?
It doesn't hurt none.
Well, she hands it back and she says, if it doesn't hurt, right, then I don't want it, because she's expecting there to be some element of sacrifice for the gesture.
Sure.
To really have meaning and impact, not only for those receiving it, but for the person too giving it.
Right.
Right. So when we try to, through community endeavors, give back, it's not just with monetary support, it's with boots on the ground, right? Because we've heard from our clients so much over the years, how do I give back? I just know like the Red Cross and all these places, I can go online and I can donate money, but I'm retired now, I have some spare time. I do think that this would be great, like to participate in, to see the impact and to give back and to do more. And sometimes people don't even know what to do or how to do it. So I think what's been great as one of our initiatives, our Arcadia, is to build community give back programs where shoulder to shoulder with our clients, we can get out there, put boots on the ground and do some of this stuff together.
Yeah, it's been really fun. So 2024, actually 2023, we had the Boys and Girls Club in New Hampshire. So we sponsored them. 2024, we did Special Olympics New Hampshire. Right. 2025, we're doing the New Hampshire Food Bank. We're also participating in the Walk for Hunger for Project Bread for Massachusetts residents too. And these organizations are great and they're local. Charities start at home sometimes. And not to say that, national, international charities aren't worthy, but we're trying to like focus on our community, where we are and give back. And the thing about like, if it doesn't hurt, like it's not worth it. Again, not judging anybody, but if you walk by like the kettle, they're ringing the bell outside of, Walmart or the grocery store or anything, you put in $5 and you're like, oh, I spend more than that on a cup of coffee. Okay. Like that's cool. And they appreciate that $5, but closing the office several times a year, like to be able to go out and give feedback or to give back to the community rather. Last year was the first time that we did in the summer a fundraising gala. And it wasn't cheap to put on, but I think it was so impactful, and the money that was raised for the New Hampshire Special Olympics was amazing. And we're looking forward to doing that this year too, to invite like all of our clients out. And it creates, some type of like sacrifice, like it dictates some type of sacrifice, that there's, you have to, sure, you can throw $5 in the pot, but like, what more could you be doing?
Sure. Plus, it alleviates this as a problem. Some people want to give back, but they're nervous doing it, at least with money, because you think, well, what if I end up going through a really expensive health event, or there's a market crash, or I mean, you pick your poison, right? What if I end up needing this money that I gave away like earlier on in my journey? And so for people who are feeling that kind of reluctance, sure, like you can clutch the purse strings. I mean, again, no one's judging you for it, but if you get some spare time and you still want to give back. So like this year with the food bank as an example,
we're doing a variety of different things this year.
We've helped them several times over the last few years. I remember one of the things that struck me is in talking to some of the volunteers, I mean, who do this year round, right? Is in like our headquarters were in Manchester. They said something like, I don't know how many, I thought it was thousands, but it was certainly in the hundreds of households that do not get food. They cannot feed their kids and similar unless they get food and distribute it throughout the community. Like if someone were to tell me that without any kind of context, I would assume you're talking about, I don't know, some place in Central Africa or something. Like no, this is happening like several blocks, right? From our office, happening right here in America, right? So again, like if that doesn't inspire you to want to get up off your seat, right? Give back, do more, find a day. I'm not saying that you have to do this every single day, every single weekend, right? But find time periodically to get out there and do it with other like-minded people. You're not going to find any shortage of those people at Arcadia. We've decided that as part of our mission, living every day like it's Saturday, it's not just about you. It's not just about your family. It has to be about humankind, like at large to a certain extent.
Making the world a little bit nicer than how you found it.
There you go. Yeah. So listen, we're not perfect people. We're just trying to do our best in the way that we can, right? And I feel blessed that we're part of this ever-growing community of clients who are saying we want to do more too and be more charitable and have charity be a focus of our retirement plan. So the retirement plan isn't just about cruises, right? It's not just about rate of return. It's about how do I make a difference? And that's really special. Yeah,
it's pretty neat. Well, if anybody's interested in helping us give back, give us a shout. Let us know. We'd love to have you there.
Thank you. We'll see you for the next episode of Saturday State of Mind.
Thanks. Bye.